Well, memorable. It was full of adventures and excitement because then the customs was divided into two departments. There was the customs preventive service where I went to, and there was what they then used to call the customs technical service. The technical service were the people who assess duties on imports and so on, while the customs preventive service was then the department that was responsible for anti-smuggling activities, in other words, interdiction of smuggling. So I was in the preventive service, and it was a very exciting job because you are always on patrol, you are always having encounters with smugglers, either armed or not armed. I displayed tremendous courage. I served at the border, and most of the time it was a very dangerous thing to do because the smugglers, even as at then, were armed. And I know I used to have very tough encounters with smugglers, but most of the time I won because my own tactics then was to immobilize whatever vehicles. I used to sometimes ask my men to remain in the bush, and then I come out solo driving, and then I come across vehicles loaded with contraband. What I normally did was just to shoot at their tires, all of them, and flood the tires before I would now go and call my officers to come out. And then things like that happen. And there was, of course, a time at the border between Nigeria and Benin where I lost a vehicle to smugglers who took it across to Benin Republic after we had an encounter. And then, of course, later on, we had discussion with officials and we recovered the Land Rover. But I think the most adventurous anti-smuggling activities I undertook was in the creeks of Okitipupa, leading me to the independent Ayetoro community, where I went on water patrol, and I had to go out to the sea to intercept very, very large boats carrying contraband from Togo across the Atlantic, leading to Delta State. But in between, I intercepted those boats, 3 of them. And I remember having spent about 1 week on the sea. I had succeeded in grounding the boats, but then we couldn't bring the boats to the shore because they were large. So I had to go back to headquarters to report, and then I was given the assistance, of the Navy. So we came with the Navy by sea, and eventually even the Navy could not be of help because the boat we came, the naval boat, could not come close enough because of the shallowness of the water, yet again posing another problem. So at the end of the day, I had to hire fishing trawlers actually to come and tow these large boats up to the shore, to the Ayetoro community. And from there, I think we loaded more than 20 trailers to Ibadan. Then I was in charge at, they used to call it West Kwara Command. And in fact, for that, I received tremendous commendation. But then the operation was described as most adventurous, and I should try to avoid those kind of operation. I didn't lose any man, but it was the toughest.